etymology goes back to crisis. Crisis means calling into question. If you go back to the origins of the term, it's calling something, this is questioning its assumptions, and the etymology pretty much maps with the genealogy of the theoretical approach we call critical, which emerged from the Frankfurt School largely after two catastrophic events that put into question, called into question, many of the assumptions about traditional theory up to the appearance of critical theory. Critical theory made its way into international relations as a sort of challenge to that hegemonic intellectual practice. But it was also, I think, prompted by a decline in the hegemony of America as a superpower. And you can put a date on this. Anybody can put a date on it in different places. Did it happen when the U.S. went off the gold standard because of inflationary practices, because Johnson had tried to pay for a war without any increase in taxes? This is the Vietnam War. And when Nixon then took the U.S. dollar was no longer the backed by gold, was that the first moment of decline? Was it when our international trade, suddenly our imports exceeded our exports and never returned? That imbalance remained after this trend in the late 70s. I'm sorry, in the mid-70s. Those are all material sort of markers. But there's also spiritual ones. Did it happen when the rest of the world, after Vietnam, stopped seeing the United States as the impregnable superpower, the proliferation of weapons that could challenge the U.S. in techniques, being guerrilla warfare, asymmetrical warfare? Did it happen in post-Vietnam? What does the Reagan presidency represent? Does it represent a return to American supremacy or a last gasp of trying to halt a decline? Is it the virtualization of its superpower status? So that's why I think it's important to be armed with critical theory, and why critical theory should be mature enough to be subjected to internal critique, not just simply external critique.